Hi, I'm Colin James, the Director of Hawaii Metal Roofing Supply. I'm here in Kailua, Hawaii today to speak to you about a topic I'm getting asked a lot about, and that's windproofing your home and your roof. Now, roof damages are actually the largest category of expense in hurricanes. Not only the damage to the roof, but the water that leaks in and the damages that will cause. Now here in Hawaii, we're especially vulnerable to hurricanes. There's really nothing stopping these hurricanes that come all the way from the coast of Mexico up into Hawaii. And roofs are very vulnerable. As you can see, this cedar roof has been extremely damaged from wind. Now, the two reasons that roofs will most commonly blow off is the age of the roof and improper installation. So here's the three most important things that you should know about roofing to protect your home from wind damage. First of all, make sure you use a licensed contractor. The challenge here in Hawaii is that everybody's cousin's a roofer, and if you use somebody who's not a licensed contractor, you have no legal recourse if something goes wrong. And they also have no incentive to do your roof according to local building codes, which are actually designed to protect you. Secondly, make sure that the roofing contractor is using the proper fasteners and the right amount of fasteners. This is actually a big deal because we see a lot of contractors who are not using the right amount of screws or nails, they're not putting them in properly, and that can actually void your manufacturer's warranty. For instance, there's a lot of roofers who will just use an air gun with a cheap galvanized nail, and those galvanized nails will rust in Hawaii. They often rust from condensation in the attic. They'll rust from the underside. The other thing is if you don't use the right amount of nails or screws with the proper length of screw or nail, your roof can be really vulnerable to windstorms. Ideally, what you want to do is use an 1.5 inch ribbed nail, stainless steel nail, or a stainless steel screw. The other thing you want to do is make sure you get in writing on your contract the type, the length, and the size of nails or screws to be used. That way you can make sure that they are doing your roof according to current building code. The third thing is make sure you get a written warranty for both material and labors that clearly specifies who's responsible for wind damage and specifically what will be covered. It's best that you get a copy of the warranty in advance of signing a contract to make sure that you're well covered. So I'm often asked as well, what types of roofs fare best in heavy winds? And my best answer to that is what statistically has been shown after hurricanes, which types of roofs survive. So metal roofs are great, but you still have to install them properly. And the problem I've seen is when these metal roofs are not installed according to manufacturer's specification. Just this year, I've actually been called out to 5 different jobs of my competitors' metal roofs that have blown off and had wind damage. And here's why I've seen they failed. The nails were too short, the nails were installed with an air gun, the flashings were made of thin metal and they were weak, and all the components were also made of a very thin metal. And the last thing is they were not installed on solid roof decking. So here's how the interlock roof is designed to protect you from heavy winds. All of the interlock components fit like a giant puzzle on the roof, so it eliminates the need for exposed fasteners. We also use 1.5 inch stainless steel fasteners or ribbed aluminum nails. And we'll use up to 3 screws per panel and up to 4 clips and 2 screws per panel on the shake profile. And it depends on the wind rating where your home is. We also have a very thick metal roof. It's actually a 0.029 thousandths of an inch, which is very strong. The interlock roof has been tested in up to Category 3 strength winds, and it's warranted for winds up to 110 miles an hour. So how do you know if your roof is protected and vulnerable to a heavy windstorm? Best thing I can tell you is to have a licensed contractor come and inspect your roof. Especially if your roof is older, more than 10 years, you should really have that roof inspected annually. And if you'd like a list of good referrals of quality contractors who have great craftsmanship, I'd be happy to provide those referrals to you. So here's the problem with using a thin metal starter course flashing. You can see obviously it's very easy to bend this material. It's quite soft. It doesn't have much of a grip for the piece to lock into, but also they've used a very skinny little tiny nail that didn't have any wind strength. Obviously the head has already popped off of that, but it's a very skinny little nail. It's about 1 inch long here. I can't even seem to pull out. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, you can see that's not even a 3/4 inch nail that they're expecting to hold this ridge cap down. You can see it's also not a very strong starter and not very much for this material to lock into. You can also see there's obvious problems with the paint coating on this. The paint's obviously failed. Wherever it's been walked on and bent, the paint is coming off. So you can see on this shingle where it's literally ripped off the roof. The metal's so soft, it just actually ripped and tore the metal sheet right in half. Right here you can see where the wind pulled this piece up and it didn't have any strength to hold. These little clips on the side were not strong enough to hold that material on the roof. So my competitor's roofing product, the shingle profile, they use just a single tab with a nail hole. So they'll just put one nail in here. And it's really not that strong. Here's a couple of examples of roofs that have blown off this year where the tabs, you can see, are bent and broken right off. This is an example of my competitor's ridge cap, and you can see the difference in design. It's a very thin product, and you can see there's very little space for the materials to attach. And we find these are blowing off often. You can also tell that they've used a galvanized nail because there's a rust mark here where the nails were. So here's the interlock shake panels. Now this is a third thicker metal. This is a 0.029 thousandths of an inch. It's a very strong, sturdy metal. And what happens is these components will get locked together on top and the bottom. Now this is the interlock sidewall flashing. And what it's designed to do is that any water that we get into this channel will flow out to the bottom of the roof. And the pieces are all going to lock in like this. This is the interlock starter course. You'll see it's made of the nice same strong metal. It's a lot thicker and it's got a lot bigger edge for the starting piece to grab onto. And locks on like that. This gives tremendous wind strength. These are the interlock ridge caps, and this tab will lock into this piece right here. And they fit and slide nice and tight together. Now what's nice about this system is these are where the screws go in these holes. So again, there's no exposed fasteners in a very tight fitting system, and the caps can run very straight up and down the ridge line. So this is the interlock slate profile in the aged copper color. Now you'll see we have a full nailing tab with 3 holes to nail to. And the pieces will lock in like this. So it's much tighter than just having the single tab on the side. So they lock in on the sides as well as the top and the bottom. This is the starter course for the slate. They're 10-foot pieces. They lock in on the bottom as well as on the side. This is the interlock sidewall flashing that also comes in a 10-foot length. So these pieces will again lock onto the side and we have no exposed fasteners. This performs a channel for the water to flow down and out the bottom of the roof. This is the interlock ribbed valley, which also comes in 10-foot lengths, and you can see the pieces will lock in to the valley as well. Now this is the interlock flat ridge caps designed for the slate profile. You can see how they fit nice and tight together. What's nice about this system is the nails again are here and not exposed. So here's the screw that we use in the panel of the shake. You can see it's an 1.5 inch stainless 304 screw. Now we also use a screw that's actually a shorter screw. It's just over an inch long screw. This is for what we put in the ridge caps. This is a thicker metal to metal screw. Every panel gets 4 clips and at least 1 screw per clip. In high wind areas, we will actually add additional screws. Now we use the same screw if we have an application where we do need to have an exposed flashing, perhaps a counter flashing that we need to just have a decorative colored screw. We will have those color matched. The other screw that we use, this is a 1-inch metal to metal screw. You can see it's a thicker screw, and this is used where we put the metal into a rib or a J channel where the pieces are not, this is not going in to penetrate the roof. This is actually penetrating into a metal flashing to hold the roof together.